Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the day 35th of our UGC-NET Paper I class. In today's class, we will be continuing the content from previous classes. And in today's class, we will see the Pramanas, the remaining two types. So that is Arthapatti and Anupalabddhi. So, and then other than that, we are going to see about structure and kinds of Anumana, Vyapti, Hetvabhasas. So all these things we will be seeing today. Actually, these two alone one class, and these remaining thing is another class. That's how we have scheduled. Just like yesterday, as I said, for two reasons. It is very simple, and then in order to give you time for preparation for the next week UGC-NET exam, I have comprised or composed into single class. I hope I don't overdo anything. So without further ado, we will move on. So just I have kept two slides from the yesterday's class. We will recalling it. So Pramanas. So whatever the tools we are using to understand about the Indian logic, those things are called Pramanas. So the Pramana word means proof or and means of knowledge. So this is the same from the yesterday's class, so I don't want to repeat it. And these are the types. In yesterday's class we have seen these four types, and the remaining two types we will see today. First is Arthapatti. So I don't know whether I am pronouncing it correctly, because there are some under foldable tongues sounds in particularly North Indian languages, in particular Sanskrit. So I don't know whether I am pronouncing it correctly. Still, Arthapatti, that means presumption or postulation. So as being a scholars, PhDs, research scholars or professors, we know what is in particular what is postulation. You are postulating a hypothesis, that is forming, or you are assuming. So hypothesis is a unconfined or unconfirmed a definition or a statement. So we are verifying that hypothesis through our research. That means same here, you are assuming or forming a concept or idea of about one thing. So here Arthapatti means postulation or supposition. So it states that valid knowledge of an unknown object, which is not questionable by other knowledge, means it is free from defects. So for example, a simple yesterday example I gave, a scale. If you are going to take a 30 centimeter scale, you need not to question, you need not to question what is given, or that means you need not to question the authenticity of that scale, that particular measuring scale, 30 centimeter scale, because of the markings, you know that is very much perfect. So here, not the known object. As I said, scale is a known object, but here we are having the valid or acceptable knowledge about an unknown object. So, but that knowledge is not questionable by other knowledge. So here it can be drawn from either what is seen or what is heard. So they have given example: Rahul does not eat food during the daytime, yet he is quite strong and fat. So based on this statement, we can assume that he is eating at night. So the assumption is that Rahul would be eating at night. That's why he is quite strong and fat. So it is purely based on assumption. So presumption, assumption, we are assuming things. So that means here you might think of that yesterday I told you, Anumana. In Tamil, Anumana means directly, that literally means assumptions. But here Anumana is inference in Indian logic. See here, the inference is based on the fact you are concluding or deducting a idea. But assumption is you don't have any strong fact, but you are assuming based on that. So it involves accepting a proposition as true based on the presumption that is necessary to explain a certain phenomenon. See here, we don't know whether he is still eating at night, but based on the statement given to us, we are assuming that he is eating at night. So Arthapatti is also known as the Pramana of postulation. So that is the Arthapatti. So what are the elements of Arthapatti? So Arthapatti, this thing that is presumption or postulation, it should have two things. First is the principal subject, pradhana. Next is pratijna or pratigna, the proposition. So there is a subject, and for that subject you are, so here we can assume it as our research gap or our research topic. So here this is the hypothesis. So for this you are hypothesizing or proposing a hypothesis. So the pradhana, that is the principal subject. Next is pratigna, the proposition. Next is Anupalabddhi. That again, see here guys, I am not a native speaker of Hindi or Sanskrit, so my pronunciation might be somewhat different from original native speakers. So please bear with me. I am trying to as much correctly pronounce all those words. So Anupalabddhi, that means non-apprehension or non-perception. So it means non-apprehension. So non-perception means you are not seeing. As here the perception word, instead of that previous class, no, we are seeing pratyaksha, that is perception. Here, there, that is completely observing of the knowledge through all the senses. But here, in this one, mainly focuses on the vision, that sense of eyes. So that means here it means non-apprehension and immediate knowledge of the non-existence of an object. So they have given example here. If the book is not there on the table, it is not perceived directly through the sense organs of the perceiver. Instead, the non-existent means the book is not in its place or the absence of the book. So அதாவது ஒரு விஷயம் இல்லை, அதனால ஒரு விஷயத்தை நம்ம பார்க்கல, அதனால அது இல்லை அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்றோம். So we are assuming the in particular, again here if I have to use the same statement, that is something is not there, so it is not there. That means there will come some philosophical questions. You can't see God. Do you think God is not there? You can't see air. Do you think air is not there? Like that, philosophical questions will arise. Here, what I am trying to say, or what I understood based on the content, is that you have already seen or understand or having certain knowledge about a particular object. When you are at some different point of in a period of time, when you are revisiting that particular object, it was absent. So since you could not see that, you are perceiving it as it does not exist or it is absent from that place. So that is how Anupalabddhi, non-perception. So it is based on the absence of knowledge. And again see here absence of objects, but they are directly saying it as you don't have any idea about particular content, so you are having no knowledge of that. So that is Anupalabddhi. They are meaning it as absence of knowledge. So it involves accepting a proposition as true, but it cannot be proven false. So it is also known as Pramana of negation. So types of Anupalabddhi. First is Pratyaksha Anupalabddhi, that is direct non-apprehension. So Pratyaksha means perception, where we use our sensory organs. So that's why direct non-apprehension. So Pratyaksha Anupalabddhi is when we directly perceive the non-existence of something. So when we look for a pen in a room and do not find it, we gain knowledge of its non-existence in that particular room. Next is Anumana Anupalabddhi, that is inferential non-apprehension. So Anumana Anupalabddhi is when we infer the non-existence of something based on its absence. So they have given here, if we see a person who has never eaten spicy food, before, not showing any signs of discomfort after eating a spicy fish, we can infer that they do not find it spicy. So, for example, when there are some people would say, I am just reiterating the example given here. So some people would say I am allergic to certain type of dishes or certain type of flavors. So when I am going or eating that particular flavor, if I don't get any such reaction, then that means I feel that that is not mixed with that particular whatever my own my own irritation or my own vomiting sense, like that I am allergic, like that I can't say. So that is I am assuming that is not there. So ரொம்ப சிம்பிளா சொல்லணும்னா பால் சூடா இருக்கு குழந்தைக்கு, so a hot milk is given to a baby. If it drinks without any discomfort, then we can assume that the milk is not hot enough for the child, so that the child is easily drinking the milk. That is the simple thing. So we are inferring that, we are making a Anumana. So these are the types of Anupalabddhi. Now structure of Anumana. See here, the two things is over. In the types of Pramanas, the two things is over. Now moving on to the structure of Anumana. Again, here, see here, in yesterday's class itself and the day before yesterday class also, we have seen through Anumana. So every time when I am visiting a website, there are so many confusing things are there. So I don't want to overdo or overdose the content here. I am just simply repeating from the previous classes, and other things I am just keeping it for namesake. So please don't confuse with other things. So first thing, structure of Anumana. Yesterday itself we have seen. First is Pratigna, that is proposition or thesis, a statement of what is to be proved. So the hill has a fire, that is a statement. So Hetu, reason. What is the reason of supporting the proposition? The reason or cause supporting the proposition is because it has smoke. Next is Udarana. In Tamil, Udaranam, example. So universal rule with example, a general rule showing invariable concomitance. Concomitance means relation, that is intertwined. The Vyapti is the Sanskrit word for invariable concomitance. So between the Hetu and then what is to be proved, that is proposed Pratigna. So when you are providing a comparison, that is invariable comparison or relation between the statement and reason, that is proposition and reason, then that is known as Udarana. In the structure of Anumana, actually don't confuse with our Udarana like example. So universal. So what they are saying, how they are assuming it means, where there is smoke, there is fire. How did they know? They have seen it in the house kitchen. When cooking, whenever there was a fire, smoke would arise. Next is Upanaya, application. Now I know this particular example, that is Udarana, and I am applying that knowledge in the this statement. So Upanaya is application of the universal rule to the present case. So the hill has smoke. That's why. Next is Nigamana or Nigamana. So that is conclusion. The final conclusion, or it is the inference. That is, since the hill has smoke, therefore the hill has fire. So these are the structures or structure of Anumana. Now kinds of Anumana. See here, there are so many things they have given here. I don't want to again, because in yesterday's class for Anumana I have given certain types, and even see here in this itself, this they have Purvavat, Sheshavat, Samanya Drishta. So here again, based on the certain things, they are classifying it in different places. So I don't want to confuse with all those things. Just go through something, and most of the words would be repeating. That is, see here, Arthapatti is also based on the method of inference. It is also a kind of Arthapatti Anumana, Anupalabddhi Anumana, Shabda Bodha Anumana, Upamana Anumana, Drastanta Anumana, Vyapati Anumana, Swarupa Anumana. So all those things, no, I don't want to confuse with guys, but just visit the bibliography website, just find out the definition, and then you need not to worry about other things. So next, moving on to the Vyapti. Vyapti means invariable relation or invariable concomitance. So the word Vyapti literally means the state of pervasion. So it implies a correlation between two facts of which one is pervaded, Vyapa, and the other pervades, Vyapaka. So a fact is said to pervade another when it always accompanies the another. So the fact is said to be pervaded by another when it is accompanied by the another. So there is a given example, no, in the previous thing, that is the hill has fire. So in the above given example, smoke is pervaded by fire. So if you say smoke, it indirectly or directly connects with the fire. So if there is a smoke, there definitely should be a fire. So since it is always accompanied by fire. But while all smoky objects are fiery, all fiery objects are not smoky. So for example, red hot iron ball. So நல்லா பழுக்க காய்ச்சிய கம்பி நெருப்போட தான் இருக்கும், அது நெருப்புக்கு சமம் தான், but it won't give any smoke. Like a very hard, even to some extent, volcano, erupted volcano lava, it will be very hot, but it won't give much smoke. Like I'm not saying about the normal busting out volcano, I'm saying about talking about the erupted over lava where it flows, no. So that particular lava won't give much smoke as other normal things. So because of this universal relationship between fire and smoke, the existence of fire is necessarily to be admitted in every case of smoke. So they need not to mention fire. Once they mention smoke, definitely it is also mentioning about fire. So without the definite knowledge of such relation, so if I don't know about this particular relation, then our inference of fire is impossible in spite of the perception of smoke. So this is known as Vyapti, that is invariable relation. So types of Vyapti. First is Anvaya Vyapti, that is positive concomitance or relation. So see here, the hill has fire because it has smoke. So there is a smoke, so there is a fire. That is the positive. I am saying there is one thing, so that there should be another thing. That is the first one. So Anvaya Vyapti or Vyapati. So first is positive concomitance or relation. Next is Vyatireka Vyapati or Vyapti. So this is the opposite of this, negative. What happens here is there is no smoke, so there is no fire. So likewise, I am saying the negative of the thing, same meaning but different negative meaning, no? So that is the negative concomitance or relation. Next, Anvaya Vyatireka Vyapti, that is both positive and negative. So here, when a hill has smoke, so it has fire, that is positive. At the same time, a place has no fire, no smoke, so there is no fire. That means that particular place in the hill also could be either a pond or some different region. So in the same statement or in the same place itself, both positive and negative are coexisting. So these are the types of Vyapti. Next is conditions for a valid Vyapti. First is unconditionality, no exceptions allowed. So when smoke is there, definitely fire should be there. There could not be any exceptions. Observed in various instances, that is repetition. So most of us have seen whenever there is a fire, smoke is there. So we have multiple iterations, multiple observations on our own life. So based on that only this is coming. Next is not contradicted. So we cannot, no one in the world will say smoke can be created without fire. Like in general terms, I am not talking about artificial things. Mostly, if there is a large smoke, definitely there could be a large fire. So should not be falsified by any example. That is Vipaksha. So these are the conditions for a valid Vyapti. Next comes Hetvabhasas. So Hetvabhasas means fallacies of inference, that is mistakes in our inference. In Anumana, you are inferring, but what are the possible mistakes could be made while inferring that? So Hetvabhasa means false reason, a statement that appears like a valid reason but is invalid. So because of that, it causes a wrong inference. So in Indian logic, a fallacy is known as Hetvabhasa. So Hetvabhasa means fallacies of inference. This fallacy means the middle term. So like I said, we would be having the three terms now: subject, predicate in that middle term. So major term, minor term, all those things I hope you guys remember in the syllogism and moods and figures. So that middle term appears to be a reason but is not a valid reason. But in Western logic, fallacies are formal in nature. So but the Naiyayikas, so these are the followers of the Nyaya school of Indian philosophy. These people are called Naiyayikas. Hold that the logical forms of inference are the same for all valid inferences. So they are relating that fallacy to the material condition of an inference. Hence, all fallacies are material fallacies only. So for that, a term, in order to term to be, that is in particular middle term to be valid, they are giving certain characteristics, 5 characteristics. So it must be present in the minor term, Pakadharmata. So that is smoke must be present in the hill. Next, it must be present in positive instances in which the major term is present. So smoke must be present in the kitchen where fire exists. So Sapakastava, Sapakastava, Kasatva. I don't know, I'm saying it incorrectly. Sorry for that. So it must be absent in all negative instances in which the major term is absent. So smoke must be absent in the lake in which fire does not exist. So that is Vipakasatva. It must be non-incompatible with the major term. Example, it must not prove the coolness of fire. Abadita. That is Abadita. Abadita. Fire cannot be cold. So it must be very hot. So this should not be must not prove the coolness of fire. So it should not be incompatible with the major term. So it must be qualified by the absence of counteracting reasons which lead to a contradictory conclusion. So the fact of being caused should not be used to prove the eternality of the sound. Aviviruddha. So when you are framing or you are assuming an inference, it should not differ with the previous sentence as well as the conclusion. So these are the 5 characteristics of a valid term. But when any of these characteristics are disturbed or changed, these 5, actually here 3, in the next slide it is 2. So all the 5 types of Hetvabhasas are appearing. So first is Savyabhikara, that is inconclusive or irregular middle. So the reason Hetu is not invariably connected with the Sadhya. So this animal is a cow because it is horned. This is a statement. But the problem is that buffaloes, antelopes also have horns. So based on just horns alone, I cannot say that it is that particular animal is a cow. So the fallacy due to irregularity, that is the Savya Bhikara. Next is Viruddha, that is contradictory middle. So here the Hetu, that is reason, actually proves the opposite of the conclusion. So here they have given the example. Sound is eternal because it is produced. But what is the problem here? Production implies non-eternality, because if something can be produced, it can be destroyed or erased. So eternal and produced are contradicting each other. So that is the contradiction. So contradictory middle. Next is Satpratipaksha, that is inferentially contradicted middle. So there exists another valid hetu that proves the opposite conclusion. So this hill has fire because it has smoke, but it is opposed by the hill. This hill does not have fire because it is snow covered. So here we have two different statements. A hill is having fire. Why? Because it is having smoke. But at the same time, that particular hill does not have fire because it is snow covered. So the second inference counters the first one. Both can't be true. Either any one thing could be true. That is the Satpratipaksha. That is inferentially contradicted middle. Next is the Asiddha. That is unproved middle. See here, in all the statements, everything is solely focusing on the middle term. So you recall the what is middle term, major term, and minor term in the modes and figures syllogism. It is there now. So you go through that. So here the hetu is not established or is doubtful. So here also Asiddha is further classified into three types. First is Ashraya Asiddha, that is unproved subject. The sky lotus has fragrance. No such thing, because sky lotus does not have fragrance. So that is the unproved subject. Next is Swarupa Asiddha, that is unproved nature. So sound is a quality of air unproven in context. So if a sound travels or if a sound is well established, we cannot say the same for that particular quality of air where the sound comes from. So that is the Swarupa Asiddha, unproved nature. Next is Vyapti Asiddha, unproved universal relation. No observed relation between Hetu or Sadhya. So they cannot find any concrete relation between them. Next is Badita, contradicted middle. So the Hetu is negated by perception or stronger evidence. So fire is cold because it is a substance. So but our perception, what we know, fire is hot. So the main fire is cold, that reason itself contradicting our own perception or belief. So that is the Badita, contradicted middle. So these are the different types of Hetvabhasas. So that's all in the total concept of Unit 6 and logical reasoning, and that also in particular in Indian logic. So these are the bibliographies which I have given, 2 pages, 2 slides. So you go through all these things. You might find some interesting concepts which I might have left in the paper or in the class. So thank you.